Welcome. In this video, we will discuss about the state water grid. So we will go through what is this concept, how the state water grid thing came into picture, why this particular thing was in news, and related to this, we will also kind of go through the river interlinking project. So that is the major outline for this video today. So we will discuss about this in little bit of detail and some cursory view as well. So let's move forward. The first thing that we need to know is that who proposed this. So recently what happened, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari suggested formulation of state water grid in Maharashtra to overcome the flood crisis in the state. So if you are aware, because of the frequency of extreme weather condition have already increased, Maharashtra face a lot of flood crisis. In fact, Mumbai has been notorious for something called as urban flood. So that is the reason why Union Minister said that for Maharashtra, in order to kind of overcome the flood crisis, we should think along the lines of state water grid. The state water grid will be formed on the lines of national power grid and highway grid. So the way we have a grid of highways, like the highway grid, where there is like vertical and horizontal grid as well as the power grid, in a similar line the state water grid will come into picture. The idea is to divert the flood water from one river basin to the other river basin in the drought prone area of the state. So the whole idea is basically, in fact, that is the similar one that is muted in the interlinking of river project. There also it's like from the surplus water, the river water would be diverted towards the deficit state. State water grid aims to do the same thing. The areas with shortage of water, scanty rainfall can get relief by the grid. So the not only it will help in flood crisis, like to manage the water during the flood, but it will also be a boon to the people who suffer from drought prone area. So the area which are drought prone will also benefit from the state water grid. So that's the whole idea. Now let's move forward and try to understand what will be the exact benefit of it. So it will help the government to ensure availability of the water in the drought prone areas and save the resources to manage the flood crisis. So flood crisis has become a very, like what you can say, problematic for India. Some part or the other of nation is frequently visited by flood, and it is like high time we come up with some solution which could be tackled in a long term. So that is one of the way by which state water grid is going to help the government to manage the water crisis during the flood. Then to increase the area under irrigation. Now if there is more water available even to the drought prone areas, the irrigation facility could be increased, which will bring the significant reduction in the number of suicides of farmers. So there was this report which kind of highlighted that the areas which are like drought prone, there the number of farmers who were committing suicide was more. In fact, you would have heard about the Vidarbha, which is like the what you can call the dry land in the Maharashtra, and it was like patch land. You must have seen the picture of it, which has the cracked land, and it's like the all the land is like really parched. So such kind of places will get water, and hence it will like indirectly lead to the better livelihood for farmers and decrease in the suicide. It will also increase the agriculture produce, and strengthen the rural and national economy. So India's GDP, even though the share of agriculture has decreased, but the sheer number of people who are employed in agriculture is still very much. Because of it, India is still an agro based economy, and it's important that we provide proper facilities for irrigation so that the agriculture produce could increase, which will eventually lead to the better rural economy and in its effect the national economy. So that is also a benefit for which could be envisaged from the state water grid. Then the diverted flood waters would relieve the stress on the local resources. So that is also there. So what happened when the flood water is diverted? So the local resources, so the drainage are like overflowing, and all these problems happen whenever there is a heavy downpour. So such kind of problems could also be tackled if the flood water is diverted. Transportation of goods and passenger through rivers water transport can be commenced in new future. So that is also there. In fact, waterways has already been like conceived and have been already started developing across various waterways, so that like if we are able to manage the water from the river which are flood prone, and we could divert the excess water to somewhere where there is a deficit of water, we could also utilize those river for waterways. Fishing and other businesses can flourish alongside, and major employment can be generated if such project is taken up as an essential infrastructure. So not only that, when you are diverting the water from a water surplus river to the deficit basin, you also need to develop dams and kind of culverts. All this required infrastructure development, which could ultimately lead to the employment generation as well. So this is the whole idea. These are the benefit which would be there if the state water grid come into picture. Now let's just like cursorily also try to understand what is the National River Linking Project. So the National River Linking Project, which was formerly known as the National Perspective Plan, envisioned the transfer of water from the water surplus basin where there is flooding to water deficit basin where there is a drought scarcity through inter-basin water transfer project. So this is the whole idea, that if a river is having surplus water, it will be diverted towards the area which has the deficit. So this is how the National River Interlinking of Rivers project work. There are two components in this project. So one is Himalayan component, other one is peninsular component. Himalayan component will include the rivers which are there in Himalayas, which are like your Ganga and your Yamuna, Shatluj. So all these rivers which are like there, that component, the Himalayan component, will take care of these rivers, and then peninsular component, because here the rivers are not perennial. What is meant by perennial? Perennial rivers are the one which get water throughout the year. Why Himalayan rivers are perennial? Because there is also glaciers and over there, and they get the water from the melting of glaciers apart from the rainfall. But in peninsular, it is only the rainfall which fills the water, and hence their river are not perennial. So this is one of the reason why these are two different component, different type of engineering would be required to interlink the rivers of both these areas. But this idea is not new. In fact, it was muted in the 1919 by Sir Arthur Gordon. It's like even pre-independence there was a provision for the interlinking of river. The idea was again revisited once India got independence in 1960, and it was revisited by the Minister of State for Energy and Irrigation, KL Rao, who proposed to link rivers Ganga and Kaveri. So he like kind of provided the suggestion for linking the river from Ganga to Kaveri, from like all the rivers through. In fact, similar thing happened. The National Water Development Agency was established during the time of Indira Gandhi in 1982, which was also looking forward for how we could link the river. So this particular concept is not new, has been around for a very long period of time. Now this is like from your prelims point of view, you should also know few things, that which are the major river linking projects going on. So there is this Ken Betwa project. The problem with this project is, just go and check in the comment, just type Ken and Betwa, which rivers tributaries are these, and what is the problem. So the problem with Ken Betwa river linking project is that it is submerging the Kahana National Forest, submerging the Kanha National Project, and because of it, what happened? A lot of environmentalists are against the interlinking of this project. Then we also have Krishna and Godavari water linking project. Again, the problem of deficit and surplus water. could be tackled if this interlinking project takes place. But again, nothing much has been happening over here, and there are few things which, like, some of portion of it has been already commenced, but still it is not fully functional. So these are like really very two important river linking project in India which has been in news frequently. So at least you go through them. There is also one regarding the Satluj and Yamuna. So there was a contention between Punjab and Haryana over the sharing of water. So that is also there. So you have to like try to recall all these projects. They are important from your prelims point of view. Like in the match the following, they could just ask which river like project is associated with which river or which state. So such kind of like very basic knowledge you could have. So I hope you have understood this video. If you have any doubt, feel free to drop a comment. Thank you.